White Talbot to make his final decision here as far as who he wants to go with. Down about 10 seconds remaining. But we'll see. We'll see what he ultimately goes with. Keeper of the Forest was not blind banned last game. Now, wasn't first locked either, which is a little bit interesting. But then eventually got locked, of course. And then eventually picked up by QsQ. Now, Parasite Draconis is going to be blind banned here by TteS Sports. Wild Soul Engineer coming out from QsQ. So, guess what? Keeper not locked, or blind banned, excuse me. And guess what?
Keeper
First
locked. Yep.
Tempest Ophelia, very quick follow-up, but very strong at the same time from QsQ.
Yeah, see, I don't think that matters, though. Like, that's under the impression that you're going to have, okay, Tempest Ophelia, but then you're going to be running what? Tempest as a suicide? Like, again, I don't think it's that strong of a combination. Now, something like a Keeper Tempest, that combination's strong. Or Ophelia Keeper, that combination's ridiculously strong. Well, you're not going to get those if you're QsQ because you're, presumably Keeper of the Forest is going to go first from TteS Sports. So I've seen that before where someone will lock Keeper, like, haha, gotcha, Tempest Ophelia, but it's not really like anything that strong. Now, if Wild Soul's in the picture, this is why I said yesterday over and over. If you're gonna ban out Wild Soul's Hellborn, you need to ban out Keeper too. Or just don't ban either of them. Because if neither of them are banned, and they go, Keeper of the Forest, haha, I get my first pick here of the Forest. And you go, haha, Ophelia Wild Soul, which is a much stronger combination than, say, Ophelia Tempest. So I'm interested to see how QsQ takes that. There's no way in hell they should give TteS Sports both Keeper and Ophelia, or Keeper and Tempest. So I'm almost thinking they have to take those two picks with those locks. That's why I really don't agree with those locks, but we'll have to wait and see how it pans out, obviously.
True, very true. The Aluna Glacius, of course, follow-up from TteS Sports, so throwing in some very good support options, and then Devour, actually, final locked here from QsQ. But with the 5 heroes ahead of him especially, there's no way I could see Devour eventually being picked up, unfortunately, as entertaining as he could be. Don't know if we're going to be seeing him this time around, but banning phase, look at that. White Talbot, just like last game, the first ban Bombardier just does not want to deal with him, so White Talbot, I am disappointed. No, but I can understand. Apparently Style plays a damn good Bombardier, and it's he is a tough hero to play against, at least 1v1 in the laning phase. So I'm going to ban out him. Wretched Hag, the quick response from QsQ. So I believe that's actually, again, how last game started with either team banning those same heroes. So
I wonder now if we're going to start to see more of this trend of just getting short lane not even carries, but short lane heroes that can just dominate a suicide.
Yeah.
This is what we saw a long, long time ago. This is why we saw Hellbringer picked up every single game. It's
really?
Because right now the metagame is pick a short lane carry that can do well against a suicide solo, but also carry late game. So heroes like Silhouette, even Dark Lady to some extent. Draconis is very popular in that regard. Maybe Torture can kind of semi-carry in the late game, but we never see heroes like, say, Succubus or Hellbringer or you know what I'm getting
Bombardier.
Or Bombardier, right? That aren't really your carry heroes or semi-carry heroes, but can just completely dominate a suicide hero. I'm wondering if we're going to see more of that because of what QsQ has done. Obviously, Bomb had a gigantic impact, even though he's not a carry type hero. But had a huge impact that game because of his success in that lane. And that's similar to a hero like, say, Hellbringer, that we never see anymore. By the way, lots of bans happened. The final bans were Wretched Hag, Fade, Pebbles, Zephyr, and the Jereziah. So very interesting bans right there. Moon Queen actually first picked by TteS Sports.
Yeah, White Talbot didn't really think too much about that. Going with the right-click, snap pick even, Moon Queen there. So it is interesting. I mean, what you're bringing up right there. I want to say again in a series against TDM where QsQ no doubt an underdog and defeats them 2-0 just off of defeating Complexity 2-0. It seems like a big part of that was maybe because of that Bombardier play, and I think that is an impactful enough of kind of an event even for perhaps that other teams to take that into consideration, and we see the immediate impact here. I mean, the very next series, the next day, of course, TteS Sports banning Bombardier both games right away. So, perhaps that is the case, and maybe I would love to see Hellbringer again. I find myself having fun playing that hero, and he's one of that big ass ultimate of his in Malphus can be fun to cast and whatnot. But
people forget how much certain heroes have to bring to the table if they get a very, very good, very favorable lane, and like Hellbringer brings a lot to the table if he has a decent amount of farm and just crushes the Suicide hero. And, I mean, what hero Suicide can go up against a solo Hellbringer in a short lane? Like, almost none. Except maybe Succubus. But when would you run a Suicide Succubus? I mean, you could. But you get what I'm saying.
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
I wonder if we're going to start to see a trend like that. It would be very fun.
It would be cool.
And then you get into this thing about, okay, say that happens and the teams pick up on it. Like, oh, I just want to get a short lane hero that just dominates their Suicide. Doesn't have to be carry, but just anything. And then you're like, well, why would we want to solo against or Suicide against a Hellbringer?
Yeah.
We're going to want to man up. And then you're going to start to see a lot more dual lanes and long lanes, things like that. So.
Yeah, well, again, that's ultimately could result in a meta shift, as it's called, which happens all the time, not only in HoN, but this genre, of course. So we'll see. We'll see, maybe. Plague Rider Bubbles, though, going to be the final 2 pickups here from TteS. Wow, they got down to 2 seconds, actually, in extra time. I didn't even realize that, but... Wow. Almost randoming. So Whitehala living life on the edge there, but gets the picks off nonetheless. And Plague Rider and Bubbles, but well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, interesting. I mean, I guess you could run the Bubbles mid. Obviously, Bubbles mid, and then Plague Rider Suicide.
I love Bubbles mid. Yeah. I think Bubbles mid is really, really strong.
Okay.
Because I think it beats a lot of heroes mid. Like I said, mid matchup, you know, it's not the same as like a side lane matchup. But side lane matchups, it's really comes down to the hero composition, like which hero is better, and then you also have the short lane to work with, long lane to work with. But mid, there's a lot more factors. There's uphill. There's the constant push back and forth between the towers. There's the rune luck factor. So Bubbles really shines in mid, in my opinion.
QsQ pickups are interesting to me because with the way they drafted, I am leaning towards them not going both Tempest and Ophelia, honestly, with their picks. So that's going to be, and you kind of stressed that at the beginning.
This right here should be a snap pick a keeper. Like, they shouldn't even think about it.
I mean, he's running out of time, too, so he actually needs to be careful here. Okay, it is going to be a keeper.
It shouldn't have even been in the question what you'd pick it right there.
Yeah.
Keep the force, but I agree with you. I think it's going to be Ophelia right here. And no, they go Tempest. This should be
has to be Ophelia, yeah.
And the thing is that you'd be running a support Plague in lane, but
okay.
why not? You have Keeper and Ophelia on your team. So.
Yeah, if you're TD Esports, it's like, sure, we may be gimping our support laning phase, especially initially, but really, are we that concerned? We get
wow.
I
don't agree with that at all.
I agree with you. I mean, I am really shocked by that. That's basically saying we want to have a Glacius true support instead, and then just run a instead of a jungle Ophelia, which is
what? Okay, here's the thing. I'm assuming it's going to be Bubbles mid and then Glacius Moon Queen in the bottom lane. What can a Glacius do in that lane that an Ophelia can't, as far as supporting?
That a Plague Rider can't.
No. Well, right. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, okay. Well, basically, no, because like Glacius is basically supporting Moon Queen right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, it goes both ways. Like, it's basically substituting the Ophelia pick. Like, yeah, obviously Suicide. It's going to be a Suicide Plague Rider now in this case, but. I mean, I feel like Ophelia is just so much more effective than either of those heroes in supporting. When you know, especially like against the Tempest, it's most likely going to be a Suicide Pharaoh. They've also pooled him some more regen, so yeah, it's going to be a Suicide Pharaoh. I don't know. I just feel like having that massive push potential, not to mention great synergized ult between Keeper, Plague, and Moon Queen, and then having the heal on top of that, the global heal from Ophelia, I just feel like that would have been a much better pickup. And the fact that you actually had that opportunity to get those two heroes together is pretty crazy. So that
wasn't random, was it? Just to be clarified. Okay, no, it was actually picked up because he was low on time. So okay, he did actually pick up the Glacius. But I mean, so like, obviously, you know, so we're sitting here talking about TD Esports in that final pick. But remember, I mean, QsQ, they passed up on Ophelia themselves. I mean, they went Tempest to Luna instead, and you know, that was them saying basically we don't run a Torturer support. We instead want to go a Luna support and have Torturer be able to have some decent farm perhaps and have more of an impact in this game as a result. So I mean, you could also kind of criticize QsQ a little bit, couldn't you?
For
that they didn't go Ophelia, instead they went a Luna instead of Ophelia.
Well, they went Tempest as well. They went Tempest and
Tempest to Luna, yeah.
Tempest to Luna, but. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to go Tempest Ophelia. That's what I was saying when they first locked it. Like that, they could do it, but especially with picking up Pharaoh, that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it was pretty obvious that they were going to take one of them. I thought for sure it was going to be Ophelia, and I thought they were going to be aggressive. But the thing is, you can't really give out at the same time Tempest and Tempest Keeper in the same team. But they had the opportunity again to take Keeper and Ophelia, and they didn't do it. So we'll have to watch and see how effective this Glacius play or this Glacius hero is on this team, and see if it bars the pick over Ophelia.
Yeah. Well, as far as the laning phase coming about now, we do get an idea of how exactly they plan to set it up. So it is going to be a Glacius, a Moon Queen down here against the Pharaoh. Aluna is still nearby, actually. Nova did play, or Jonas Fan plays this ward side here.
This is crafty.
Side,
they're trying to bait Glacius. You see this?
Yep.
Glacius is going to play really far up, and then they're gonna collapse right now. Oh, that was misplay. That was misplay. That was a misplay by Pharaoh, and he went a little bit too soon. Here is the flank, actually. They might even try to run it on the Moon Queen. They're dividing their attacks a little bit. They did not play that well at all.
Yeah.
They could have done that so much better. It was a great idea, but just did not execute it properly.
Yeah, it was setting up beautifully. I mean, right as you were talking about it, sure enough, it was going into play, but Glacius at the same time, he just fell back a little bit too quickly, and obviously Aluna wasn't really able to get there in time, and kind of all fell apart. So instead of Luna, she's finding herself kind of in an awkward spot here now even. She may stack the Ancients, I guess, but
I would still just dual lane down here.
Okay.
Like, dual lane a Pharaoh Luna is not bad at all.
Okay.
It really isn't. Pharaoh actually has a lot of laning presence. He's actually a very, very strong hero. He's very tanky. He can also stop follow up. Oh, mid lane. Are we going to see a kill? One more auto attack. No, we couldn't get it. The health potion's up on Style for now. Or actually, that's Nox playing Silhouette. And he will be fine. Very, very close.
Yeah, that was very close indeed. I mean, just catching that kind of midway through, but somehow Bubbles got him low enough to the point of nearly getting the kill, of course, but no bloodless kill just yet, as a result of Nox just barely getting out of ranging it in the health potion off. But again, so this laning phase is turning out to be pretty interesting. I mean, you mentioned Pharaoh Aluna. I guess it's not bad, but it's definitely not something you would expect to see. But then that also means, obviously, Silhouette is soloing middle against a Bubbles here. And is it safe to say Silhouette should have a good time against this Bubbles middle?
See, the thing is in mid, I think it's fair game. Like, honestly, I think it goes both ways. Obviously, that exchange happened. It's very difficult when you man up and go for a kill and don't get it. It's very likely what just happened. You're going to have the health potion popped on that hero that you went on, and that means that you're in a worse state. So it almost punishes you for being aggressive if you don't get the kill. So now Bubbles is in a little bit of a slump, but he's actually getting some good CS. In the meantime, top lane, it's Playground getting aggressed on here actually by Torture, who has went the QW build, the Impalement build. And that is one of my favorite builds. I actually think that build is very, very strong, even in a solo lane. And almost got the kill on Plague, but Plague's going to be fine for now. Has that very, very high base movement speed with the boots.
Yeah.
Stun does miss yet again there for Torturer. I don't mean yet again, but just missed it right there. And here comes some aggression. Oh no, Tempest here comes in with the stun. It is a level 2 stun. It's going to stun a second time. One more auto attack. Style gets the credit for the bloodless kill.
Yeah, that was obviously Blake getting a little bit overzealous right there, but more so just good timing on the part of Tempest. There is this ward aside here that was placed by Ryzer, but obviously that's really just a block and barely any vision coming from it. So really just wasn't able to spot Tempest coming in. Well, bloodlust kill set up, and Style did, sure enough, get the bloodlust on a Torture. And I was actually going to, you're just mentioning how you like the build that Torture is going with the Impalement on top of the chain reactions. Yeah. What about this, though? I mean, in a melee matchup, that seems like it'd make a lot of sense. Now, not only are you dealing with the Plague Rider being ranged, but Plague Rider does have good movement speed, so you still think it is fine? I mean...
Yeah, what it does is it prevents manning up of any kind. Like, you can't man up on Torture. Like, it's very, very difficult. And at the same time, it's not just because his movement speed is faster than yours doesn't mean that he can get out of range of your Impalement. Like, yeah, you have to be really, really fast to get out of that range. At least at this, in this type of the laning phase. Torture, in the meantime, actually taking a lot of damage, though. A lot of harassment from Plague Rider. He has no more regen, so he's going to have to wait until he gets some consumables or something. He's actually sent himself a bottle, so he will be fine for quite some time now. But the thing about Plague is, in the 1v1 matchup, he did die. He does hit level 5 right now. Once he hits level 6, he can pretty much get a very, very easy kill on the Torture.
Oh, Moravius going for an all-in kill here on a Silhouette. This could be risky, though. The tree grapple is going to connect. Bubbles one more auto attack. No, he will get the kill first, and Moravius will come out on top right there. Again, that was a bit risky, but in the end, the man-up mode worked for Moravius, and he hits level 6 as a result of that as well. So big-time man-up. Of course, he'll have to fall back and get some regen. He needs to be careful about a Tormented Soul, by the way, when I think about it, but I think he should be fine, actually. He doesn't even have to take cover, so. But he is going to be fine. Big man-up, gets the kill. Worked out well for Moravius there.
Yeah, definitely. Again, I think Bubbles is so strong in mid. His damage is really, really high. I love his auto attack. I love his animation. And the thing about that kill too in mid is he didn't even use the Kel field. He can come back mid and keep harassing and maybe use a kill field. No, he's actually going top. This is going to be a very easy kill on the Torture. The Shell Surf connects. Very easy kill. There's the kill field. He's going to try to just sit there. Doesn't want to break it just yet. Very actually well played by Style, but still too much damage and good gank there coming out from
Well,
Ravis.
that almost bought enough time, honestly, for TteS to come in with an ultimate. Mally was definitely thinking about it, but in the end, he realized it just wasn't going to work out. He started to fall back and pretty much accepted his friend dying right there, right before his eyes. So tragic indeed. But yeah, good play by Moravis. I mean, he is coming off. Let's be honest, it wasn't the most impressive performance on Pebbles last game, despite him usually having good performances, especially on that hero. But this game around, he's definitely doing a much better job. 1-0-1 so far as a result of the start, and also farming around 260 gold per minute. Bottom lane, wow, Glacius falls way beyond the tower, as obviously they're taking advantage of the ranged abilities that Pharaoh and Aluna have right there to snipe him out. So good job.
Yeah, this lane bottom has been really strong, Aluna Pharaoh. Despite the fact that they missed out on that great opportunity that they had early on, they've been making a lot of work here in this bottom lane, and Glacius just doesn't seem to have the strongest lane presence in this lane. Now, you think of Glacius as a really strong support, but honestly, she's pretty damn squishy against a Pharaoh Aluna. Like, they have a lot of spam between the two of them. And Pharaoh actually has leveled up his Tormented Soul, so think about how much spam is coming out from these two heroes. It's a lot.
Right now it's 160 plus the 210, if at least on the initial hit, of course, from the power throw. But anyways,
these are low cooldowns. Exactly,
low cooldowns, decent mana cost, and could definitely be used quite frequently here between those two heroes. So yeah, let's just say a good amount of damage every, what, 10 to 12 seconds or so. So I guess the Torment Soul's 20 seconds, but still, you get the point. Going back to Torture real quickly, I mean, again, there is another benefit. Actually, speaking of Torture, Plague Rider trying to man up on it, but here comes TteS. Ooh, they were trying to bait a little bit, but Plague Rider does not fall for it this time. And he's just going to hug that tower here. But this top tower is in some trouble. Yeah. As TteS is coming in. Has a Ring of Sorcery, just using it right there. The minions are out, though. And he's really putting some good threat here on a Plague Rider. TteS is taking a little bit of damage himself, so he needs to be a little bit careful. But this tower should fall. Will Plague Rider deny it, though, is the question.
He could maybe go for a kill right here. Yeah, he could maybe go for a kill. TteS has no mana. Oh, I so would have. There's the ultimate. Can he get the extra nuke? No. I feel like he actually just ran in because TteS had no more mana for anything.
Yeah.
For anything. TteS actually Torture is going to get flanked right here. There's the nuke actually. Oh, good thing that Shell Surf connected quickly because the impalement was activated and the stun hit. So good gank, good roam yet again from Moravis.
Yeah, Moravis doing a lot of work here early on for TT Esports. If anything, kind of just a saving grace early on, because you do look at the overall picture. And TteS is sure enough leading the way at 320 gold per minute, but Silhouette also having a good time. Speaking of Moravis, once again, going for a kill to kill because against the kill to Silhouette. Aluna's just committing to the tower. Nova will get the tower kill, but at what cost right here? She will fall. Double tap for Moravis. And oh my god, he's level 9 all of a sudden. He's farming 355 gold per minute. The top farm in the game now. That was a very curious decision making. I mean, it did get the tower kill, and you may say he was dead in the end, I guess, but
I mean, imagine that tower got denied, though. Like, that is not a risk you should take at all. Like, that could have very easily gotten denied. And I think Moravis, I mean, he played it fantastically. I think he could have even just focused his auto attacks on Luna and then waited for the pristine time. Glacius in a lot of trouble down here in the bottom lane. Can he get away? He's actually hiding out here, but Pharaoh's going to spot him out. Glacius will most surely die.
Moon Queen getting ulted in the meantime by TteS, actually, as soon as he ports in. 12 minutes all hits, and down goes Moon Queen. Meanwhile, up here, actually, that was Glacier, or no, that was Aluna getting picked off, excuse me. Bubbles is actually a little bit of trouble, and the uphill attack will connect, and Style will finally stop the streak of Moravis. And on top of that, they get a tower kill. So Moravis, despite the momentum he was picking up there, it is all of a sudden looking really good for QsQ now, after what just happened there altogether.
Okay, so, you know, we're just praising Moravis for quite some time, but the fact that he has not a single point and take cover, I think, is a big oversight. Yes, you're doing a lot of damage, and it does scale up pretty nicely with Song in the Sea. Does a lot of damage, 240, plus a 280 from the Shell Surf, plus the damage you get from Kelp Field and keeps him in place. Yeah, it's a lot of damage, but having that take cover is what really makes Bubbles Bubbles. And he's not able to dodge anything, and he could have easily survived right there, not to mention just mitigated a lot more damage there. Glacius has no boots right now. He's in a very awkward spot as the Luna walked right past him. Glacius, oh my god, if he gets spotted out right here, he must have been seen right there. Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, no chance for him. Leon Black will fall right here.
This could have been an Ophelia, just saying.
Yeah, it does go back to the to that picking stage, so You can definitely continue to question that. In the meantime, though, Torture actually catching Bubbles here. Will need to support the impalement, doing a lot of damage. And there's that kill again. No take cover on Bubbles. No doubt that could have saved him right there. Plague Rider is also going to start falling as Rats of the Pharaoh comes in and connect. The Plague Goo will get off, but unfortunately not the most bounces. Hat Trick coming out for style when it's all said and done. And this is just snowballing quickly here. I mean, it's 9-7 hero kills, so it's not like a massive kill lead by any means for Q Squad. But look at that 6,000 overall gold lead right now in the Hellborn team's favor. Just, you have 4 heroes that are all higher in GPM than anyone right now on the Legion team. And you also have a Moon Queen that's only farming 214 gold per minute now. So Enzo, again, just like last game on Draconis, really just can't get much going here.
Yeah, and I really like this, like I said, the skill build from Torture. And the greatest thing about leveling up Impalement is once you activate it, it's like it's done. It's already done its work. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You can couple auto attacks with it as well. And it's just like you don't have to worry about it. It's guaranteed damage once you walk right next to him. Right then, what we saw is Bubbles already used the Shell Surf. Obviously, doesn't have a portal key or anything like that. So Torturer knew he had full range to just run out onto him. And there's no take cover up on the Bubbles. Not to mention, it wouldn't really help in that situation because level 1 take cover does nothing against a constant impalement. But still, it still could have helped a little bit. And that was just making the best opportunity you could by Torturer. So good job right there. And yeah, this is starting to snowball out of control. And again, like you mentioned, Enzo just not able to find any problem. There's the hook actually coming out on the Bubbles. Already used a Shell Surf. He is completely screwed.
Yeah, he just used it to nuke the creep wave, and sure enough, a couple seconds later he dies. I mean, again, it's not, you can't really, I guess you really can't blame him for that, but it's just really bad timing in the end. And Q Squad just happened to be there ready to set up, and sure enough, they execute. So the snowball just continuing now. We're coming up to the 12-minute mark here, and you just look at everything, really. It's just all in favor of Q Squad as far as the stats and whatnot. So TteS actually going to play the Greaves route here earlier on top of the Ring of Sorcery. Already has another 1,500 gold saved up. Torturer, Keeper of the Forest's Invis here is kind of on top of these guys. He does have a root ready to go, but he really doesn't have support. And actually, Keeper of the Forest going to run right into a Revelation right here. The Impalement doing a lot of damage. In comes that tormented Soul Nuke, and Keeper of the Forest will fall. Talk about getting baited right there. Nova placing that Ward of Rev and got Keeper of the Forest to run right into it. It's just getting uglier and uglier here for TTE Sports.
Yep. And again, I can't stress enough how I feel like the Ophelia pick would have just been so much better. It would have been so much better. First of all, like they did man up in the long lane with Aluna and Pharaoh, and they've done this several times. And the lane composition is actually quite strong. Similar to the other kind of lanes. Actually, we see a hasted, that's a Pharaoh actually. There's the ultimate coming out from Moon Queen. They get a very nice turn. Great job, great presence of mind for Menso as they get a very much needed kill there onto Joseph. And playing a little bit risky there with a haste room. I've seen more times than not people die with a haste room because they get overzealous and caught in a stun or something like that, and that's just what happened.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, sure, a great turnaround, and that's huge for TTE Sports, of course, but that was not, I mean, that was just Jonas Fan completely overcompensating there. So that was kind of silly, but in the end, again, you still got Q Squad where they're at. In fact, Torture trying to set up a gang on Bubbles by himself. Bubbles is able to get away, and actually, if Torture's not careful here, Bubbles could turn this around here. Torture does have a tablet of command finish, by the way. He's going to use some bottle charges, get some life. And actually going to tablet through the trees, doesn't want to be spotted as he may try to set up a gank here with Pharaoh coming in. So sure enough, Bubbles and Plague Rider are here now. Plague Rider does have an Astrolabe, by the way. Torture running in, but now Torture realizing that this may not have been the best decision. He's going to fall. Pharaoh does come in. The Mummy Wall goes up, but the Shell Surf already porting out by Bubbles. It ends up being a good turnaround for the Legion team. So a couple of decent kills here now coming out for Q Squad, or excuse me, for TTE Sports. And again, it's definitely a step in the right direction. So at least finally slowing down the snowball that was in the works here for Q Squad. But still, you're looking at a 5,600 goal lead only 14 minutes in, especially on Nox playing the Silhouette, who's up there with really everyone else on their team, other than maybe that Aluna. And you still have a TteS, who's actually now has a portal key even on top of his item. So.
Yeah,
wow.
He's farming really well. They really need Keeper to be active this game. Like I don't even remember if he's been able to use a root effectively this game.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. And his farm is quite honestly not that great either. Like he doesn't have a portal key yet. He's only sitting on boots and a Ring of Sorcery. And they have no towers pushed at all. Keeper of the Forest is going to use an Invis after getting stunned by the Glacial Blast from TteS, but he'll be fine for now. Moon Queen, her farm has actually recovered just a little bit as she had a pretty tough time in that bottom lane. Glacius totally gimped. Has absolutely nothing, only sitting at 84 GPM. No boots up even on him at this moment. and is already having a tough time to ward, because once you're down, a good team will constantly just try to take away any bit of vision you can. That is why we see Nova bound eyes so often, especially when he's up, or his team is up.
Yeah.
And it just totally, screws with the other team's vision. And yes, it is a risky pickup, but I actually think it's a pretty good strategy to use.
Oh, yeah. Nova, you talk about warding experts. Nova has to be up there with the best in the history of HoN for sure. So you can safely say he kind of knows what he's doing. But Keeper of the Force, again, he's kind of sitting here. If they put this Rev down, Keeper's dead, basically. In fact, if Palma's going to be activated, there goes the stun. The Rev was put down. And just like that, Keeper of the Force falls. It's like somehow they know he's there. They saw him go in, I guess, so they're just doing it just in case. They get the catch. Pharaoh actually jumps in on a Glacius. Leon Black is in a lot of trouble. You see the Moon Finale going to be activated off to the side, though, but Glacius will fall. The Tempest up and oh, Plague almost ran into it, actually, but the new kill Moon Queen. Bubbles will fall as well, and Plague no Plague Goo is up. He's trying to get away. Torturer with the tablet of command, though. Has chain reactions, a 1 second sidestep from Riser. It is not going to be enough, though. Barely catch. The Impalement's activated. Tempest portal keys forward. The Tormented Soul will connect, and Plague going to try to get a turn kill if anything, but it's not. Yes, it is going to happen, but he dies when it's all said and done. So look at the leads now coming up from Q Squad. 9,300 gold lead, 8,000 experience lead. Wow.
I like how, I was going to say, Torture just walked by that ward of sight and just, let it go. But, yeah, he could have used his impalement a little bit earlier there, too, but well played by Riser. I mean, he knows they're in a terrible position, but wants to get at least something out of that kill and just showing that he's a good player and got that kill onto Nova. But they're in such a huge rut right now, and it's going to be really hard as a team to come back out of this mentally. Like, the game is not just completely over just yet, but, they're playing like they don't know how to come back into this. Like, they're playing like they're demoralized. Yeah. The biggest thing, Glacius has absolutely nothing. He's 0-4-0. And I'm sorry, but I have to keep going back to the Ophelia pickup. Like, I just feel like it would have been so much better. And if, your thought here this game was, I need to support my Moon Queen with something better than a Plague Rider. Well, honestly, I don't think that Glacius is that much better than a Plague Rider as far as supporting him in the short lane. The thing is Ophelia could also support that Moon Queen. Could also be in your own jungle farming up. Keeper would be in a suicide role, which I think Keeper as a jungler, he's great. He farms fast. He can push towers, but I think he really excels as a suicide more than a jungler. And he'd be in that suicide role, which Riser would most likely be playing, and playing it very well, and would do just fine against the Torturer. I just think it would have been so much better for their entire team as a whole to pick up Ophelia than Glacius.
Yep. They did not, and perhaps kind of feeling the consequences here as a result of that. Middle lane again, Keeper of the Force. Waitalaba is going to get caught out here. He was kind of pushed up a little bit there with really no team support nearby, so you do got to question that a little bit, but in the end, just the aggressive nature of this Q Squad team. They have those gotcha spells, especially from Pharaoh. I guess, well, of course, a portal key on Tempest, so, and they're really taking advantage of that. Pharaoh, Jonas Advantage has been flying around the map for that matter, as far as using that Wrath of the Pharaoh as you like to see. So, Nullstone just finished on Silhouette, and speaking of Pharaoh, he's going to use the haste turn once again. Going to maybe do something on Moon Queen right here. Moon Queen doesn't have that Moon Finale, just it is coming up going up very, very shortly here. In fact, there we go. But Pharaoh not going to really commit to a fight there. Meanwhile, back to the middle lane, we do see Bubbles. Cupfield's going to come out. Plague Goo is ready to go. In fact, there goes the Plague Goo. Going to do a lot of damage right here. Silhouette may fall when it's all said and done. Yes, he will. The Plague Goo absorbs by a lot of creeps, though, in the end. So only Silhouette is going to be killed. Pharaoh, a great mummy wall block right there. And that'll stop the Legion team from committing any more. So at least a good big kill on a Silhouette who was actually delivering the Nullstone. So.
Yeah, they really needed a portal key up on this Keeper, and they have fantastic ultimates that synergize very well together. And they're all level 2 now, except for Keepers. And his doesn't really matter that much. I think it increases the duration as well as, just the duration. Yeah, from 3 seconds, or 2 seconds to 3 seconds. And the cooldown a little bit. But Bubbles has very good spells to work with. Plague Rider synergizes well with the Keeper. Everything works so well together. Keeper's going to get caught right here. He needs to spam the R button. He does. He's probably going to die regardless, though, as he does fall, unfortunately. So Pharaoh making some big plays. This game has been very active from start to finish. Yeah. At least so far, from start to now, I should say, as he's 5-1-9. Jonas Fan playing really well this entire weekend.
Yeah, he's been involved in 14 of the 18 kills. So in fact, there was a Wrath of the Pharaoh right there, connecting to Moon Queen. Obviously, had a ward aside to spot her, but still, the distance was pretty awesome. In comes our Tempest ultimate, locking down Plague Rider in the background. The Hellfire from Pharaoh doing a lot of work, as well as Torture, of course, with the ulti activated and everything else. And another couple of kills coming out in favor of Q Squad. 11,000 gold in experience lead now. They're going to push the secondary middle tower. Top lane, Silhouette just continuing to do her thing. She has just been farming a lot this game, but obviously working out. She's only been involved in 2 of the 20 kills, actually. She has the 2 assists and the 3 deaths even, but Nox, kind of just doing her job again in the sense of just farming while the rest of the team takes care of work. Takes care of business even. It is working here. Pharaoh is going to get a little bit of blocks going on for Keeper of the Forest, trying to make some work happen. Keeper of the Forest, wow, Kelfield coming out from Bubbles as well, but Pharaoh just a little bit too tanky. Now Keeper of the Forest is the one in a lot of trouble. He will get the Nation's bailout, but the AoE damage from Torture just not enough. Oh. Yes, it is. Never mind. The impalement comes out, and it does finish off Keeper. So I don't know. I mean, again, you are down 1-0 already in the series, and this is it. So I'm not saying they should concede, but is there much hope left here? I don't know.
Well, like I said, their ultimates are still huge. Like, synergized all together. It's not like the Hellborn team's that tanky. Like, they're really not. Pharaoh is very tanky. But other than that, no, they're actually not that tanky, and they're pretty squishy. I mean, they just keep capitalizing. Like, right now, they just keep getting kill after kill separately. Like, outside of the team, and they're fighting them one by one. And that's not how you should be playing this if you're TD Sports, especially when you're down. You need to take every fight with 5 players. And you need to use everything on 1 hero or 2 and then get the hell on out of there. And they're just simply not doing that. They're trying to get greedy. They're trying to farm in places where they know they shouldn't be able to. And QsQ is punishing for them.
You see Enzo saying GG well played, and there we go. It looks like TT Esports, however, just has had enough. Again, I can't blame them. You are right. I mean, when it comes to the lineups, if you're to look at this on paper, not really knowing the stats or anything, you would definitely think TT Esports has a very good chance in this game. But the roam, man. Q Squad, Jonas a fan specifically on that Pharaoh. He was just flying left and right with his ultimate. He almost seemed like he was using every single cooldown. Style did fantastic at the top lane of Torture. It just really, it was a thing of beauty, honestly, from Q Squad. And this Q Squad team, talk about some momentum, man. I mean, yesterday, 2-0 over Complexity, 2-0 over TDM. Today, 2-0 over TT Esports. I know they're going to be down 1-0 to Stay Green in the Grand Finals, just a result from coming from the losers bracket now. But if I'm Stay Green, I'm worried. I mean, they are obviously on a hot streak here as Q Squad. So
yeah, definitely. Look at I was going to mention, because clearly Style played a huge role in that game as he was very active early on after getting a good start there, especially with assistance from Molly on Tempest. Starting off with that, I don't know if it was a Bloodlust kill, but it was a kill up in the top lane on the Plague. But Styles CS was 51. It was actually, if you minus the 5, creep denies.
Wow.
46. Compare that to Riser, who's 115. Obviously has the denies to work with, so it boosts his out, so like something like 70 or something. But still, that just means he was basically getting all his farm from just running around, running amok as 5 with his team, getting constant kills with Jonas Fan, setting that up with his 12 assists. So they just played it from start to finish very aggressively. And it was fun to watch. And like I said, that bottom lane, I think the composition from TD Sports could have been much stronger. I don't think they played it wrong. It's just like Glacius Moon Queen is, honestly, like you think it's smart. You think it's strong. Yeah. You have a great support in Glacius. Supporting Moon Queen is actually not that bad lane because she can spam out with her moonbeams. But against the heavy spam with a Luna Pharaoh, they're both actually not squishy at all, at least in the early laning phase.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would have been just a much better composition to have Ophelia up in that, even if you had Plague Rider as a support in the short lane. It sounds funky, it sounds weird, but it would have been much better.
Well, in the end, TD Esports, again, perhaps discouraged, perhaps frustrated. It's understandable.
Yeah.
We're all competitors after all, and you have every right to be, but let's look at the big picture. They did finish 3rd place here in cycle number 3. That is their best finish yet, as they finished, I believe, 4th and even 5th before. But anyways, so got to be happy for that at least. So they finished 3rd overall. They did defeat Trademark Esports earlier on in the tournament. Like I said, 2-0 themselves. I mean, again, so they clearly got some things working for them in the end. So you'd hope that this doesn't really have a huge effect. And not to say that it will. Again, that's the whole point of HoN Tour in the end, in a sense, is you got these cycles. One cycle may not go like the next. You may have your up and downs, as Q Squad has shown for that matter. But but at the same time, again, on the other side of the spectrum, here we are with Q Squad now. Like I said, the best they finish is 4th place in these cycles. They're at least going to get a second out and a good chance at 1st place, as they will be matched up against Stay Green in those grand finals. Now, on that note, the grand finals are set to take place in about an hour and a half from now. So, obviously, we are going to have a little bit of a break here before we jump into the grand finals and whatnot. But you know, just go ahead and grab some lunch or some dinner wherever you are. Maybe do some, you know, some push-ups, some exercises. I know I will be. and then join us back in about an hour and a half from now when that is set to start. We'll keep you updated on our Facebook and whatnot. So,
yep.
But yeah, another crazy series indeed. Sure, maybe even a little bit more one-sided on the side of QsQ for the most part, but man, QsQ again, it is setting up to be an awesome and very exciting grand finals. I will say that much against Stay Green. So I can't wait for that again about an hour and a half from now. Anything else you have to say, Trell, before wrap up here?
Still, despite the losses today, there's no reason to be discouraged if you're TD Esports. I mean, you took out before this Trademark Esports 2-0. And like you mentioned, QsQ's on a streak right now. Like, they're on a hot streak. And they also just took out both Complexity and TDM themselves 2-0. And they're undefeated at least in the last 6 matches so far. So I wouldn't feel bad at all right now. And, you know, congratulations to them on taking third this cycle.
Yeah, definitely. So, but grand finals, hour and a half from now, it will be QsQ versus Stay Green. Again, you ask really the whole community what the grand final matchup would be going into Cycle 3. I don't know if anyone would have guessed this, but at the same time, you know, that's why you play it ultimately, and it is good to see in the end, as we talked about. So that'll be happening about an hour and a half, but as far as wrapping this portion up of the cast, of course, I was Breaky CPK, as always joined by Tralfamador, and definitely look forward to that coming back. But the stream will be going off for now, so until then, we'll see you. Going to be coming up for that matchup at, what is that exactly the time-wise? That will be 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. That is 21:30 Central European Time. Do not miss it, ladies and gentlemen. Cycle number 3, Diamond Division Grand Finals. Stay Green. Going to be taking on QsQ. See you then.